Welcome everybody to our BNI Talks webinar. My name is Steve Tenuzo, your host, and today I've got Andrew Peterson, and this one has been a long time in the making. We started talking about this when we both started getting involved with AI back in, I guess, December. We probably started talking about this, but we kind of wanted to let the field settle a little bit because we knew it was going to grow very quickly, and it certainly has, and we're still at the very, very early stages of using AI for business, but this seems like as good a time to speak on it than any. So let us jump into this presentation of AI pros and cons, and we really kind of wanted to just talk about a very basic overview of what this is, how it can work for your business. And I thought before we started, we would do a quick poll so we can take a look at how often you're using this. So for those of you driving around, the question is, how often do you use AI products in your business? Is it every day, like ChatGPT or Bard or Bing or Jasper, whatever you use? A couple times a month, you may have tried it once or twice, or you haven't used it yet. I believe, Andrew, they were saying that it's something like only about 14% of the country is using AI currently. So it is still very early stages, first 6 months since ChatGPT launched. So long way to go. So those of you who haven't used it yet, which looks like it'll be the majority, you've come to the right place. So we're going to kind of talk a little bit today about what it is, how it works, what's the good stuff, what's the stuff to be concerned about, and maybe talking a little bit about the future of it as well.
Yeah, if you're here, you're getting in on it now, you're getting in the ground level, you're getting in early, and you're going to have the opportunity to, just by getting your feet wet with this topic, you're going to have the opportunity to be ahead of that other 86% of the country who hasn't even touched it yet, right? So
yeah. There's the results right there. So it seems like those who are using it often, and most of you have not used it yet, and that is quite all right. This is why we wanted to start with this one. For those of you who are wondering, we're actually doing 3 different AI presentations for the moment. That we're doing this one. I believe in July, we've got Tiffany and Tom are back to talk about using AI for BNI. And then Andrew and I are working on something in the future, I think in August, probably. Is that what we picked? Yeah, to talk about the other stuff that you can do. So very excited to get this going. So Andrew, why don't you take over?
Awesome. Excited to be here. Thank you, as always, for inviting me, Steve. It's an honor and a pleasure to speak to you and all of BI Nation. And this is a very exciting topic that I'm very excited about. It looks like 60% of the people in the audience haven't used AI yet. So this is designed to be an introduction to who the major players are in the AI game, who you can go to get your hands on AI and start getting comfortable and getting in the game, and as well as a basic tutorial on just some of those basic ways that you can get involved. And I think this is really sort of the issue of our time right now. Like there was, the cotton gin and the airplane, and there was the telephone, and there was the internet. And now I think that AI is really going to be the defining technology of our generation in the ways that it can help and improve and transform society in just ways we are not even thinking about right now. And that's why we're pushing off that next one for a little bit longer, because there's so much more we can do, but it's also just so constantly and rapidly developing that it's really interesting. And we wanted to start here, talk about this, and this is a tool for all of our BNI members to improve their businesses. And it is not, we don't view this as a threat to our marketing spheres at all. In fact, all of our members of the marketing sphere in our BNI chapters who use this are going to come out of it like superheroes, and they're going to be just 10 times more effective and efficient and better because of their use there, right? Copywriters, designers, whether they're web designers, graphic designers, marketers, are still going to be extremely highly valued members of our BNI. And I'm a designer and Steve's a copywriter. So he's a perfect example of how embracing this is going to increase his efficiency, right? So that's the first thing we wanted to talk about. Just a little brief about me here. I am Andrew Peterson of Wicked Modern Websites. We are a marketing agency, a boutique web design firm. And we are giving you, if you QR code in the bottom right, you can get access to what we're giving away everyone today is our AI playbook, which is our living document on how we write our own prompts from inside our business. We wanted to share that with everyone here who wanted to get an edge and start learning and have a document to work with. So I highly recommend checking that out. So, and we'll see this again a little later on. Look, AI is your competitive edge in the digital era, okay? We're going to be transforming businesses through intelligent automation. Every business, whether you're a real estate agent, you're a lawyer, you're a tradesperson, has repeated tasks. Anything. You have repeated tasks. You have administration work. You have a variety of other ongoing business processes, and the development time for the vast majority of these business processes can be greatly reduced, which is going to lead you to better efficiency throughout all systems of your business. And the key word is bigger and greater profitability. So we want to use this opportunity, and the sooner we get in checking it out, sooner we're going to be able to take advantage of that. And the title of this talk is the pros and cons of AI. So we wanted to be very, upfront about everything that's going on with AI, how it can help us, what some of the concerns are in society as well. So let's start with the pros here, okay? So there are very many, and they're great for your business. Again, increased efficiency. Everyone's business has repetitive tasks. We can decrease the time and the friction for getting through those business processes on a daily basis, increase our efficiency. AI is going to continue to drive innovation and advancements across industries. It'll facilitate the development of new products, services, and solutions that can improve people's lives every day. AI is going to allow us to have personalization and customization and serve our customers better, because we're going to be able to use AI to tailor our products and services directly to their individual preferences. And it's going to give us enhanced accuracy. AI systems are capable of processing and analyzing large amounts of data with extreme precision, reducing errors and improving the information we have for our decision making, right? So let's talk about cons. I know there's a lot of people in the audience right now who are probably like, I'm a little afraid of AI. I've watched a lot of science fiction movies. I'm a little concerned about maybe my place in the industry. So let's talk about it. There's truth to this. There's some real truth, okay? Job displacement is a real issue. The automation of certain tasks and roles through AI can lead to job losses and unemployment, particularly in sectors that rely heavily on repetitive or routine tasks. Most of us here in BNI are running our own business, so we're not just going to be data entry people. That doesn't really affect us. We're always going to need salespeople, always going to need the creative people. We're going to need the people who are driving our business. We're all safe. As ethical concerns, much like the internet, there are ethical concerns about privacy. There's concerns about censorship. Who is the one who is informing these datas in language models? Are they going to be biased or produce that? And these are really the same issues that we have with all forms of media, all forms of communication. Someone's going to be writing the program. Somebody's going to be in control. So we all have to look as a society at who are those people who are making the rules, right? Dependency and vulnerability. If our society becomes too over-reliant on AI, that can make us vulnerable to, say, cyber attacks from nation state enemies, or just hackers trying to get into things. So we want to use it, but we don't want to. And we're going to talk more and more about this as it goes on. We're going to use AI, but we're going to use it to build up our production. And then we're going to add the editing and the oversight of it. So we're really just helping ourselves. Economic inequality, AI adoption may contribute to widening the gap between skilled and unskilled workers. This is the same as all new technology. As the world processes, new skills become important. Everyone who's here is doing the right thing. They're informing themselves. They're going to be on the leading edge of that, learning about it. You're not going to be left behind. So informing yourself is always the right thing to do. So there's our talk on that. Steve, what do you think? What concerns you most, and what do you think is the best thing going on with AI right now?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I love it just for coming up with ideas and things. I think what we're going to see is not the, as you mentioned, I don't think we're going to have to worry about losing our jobs at this point, but I think we are going to have to look at squeezing timelines. You can't be a copywriter or web designer anymore and say, I need 6 weeks on this project, because people are going to expect a tighter timeline. And if you're using a program like this to help you out, yeah, that's going to be a big time saver, which I love, because that really could lead to more business for you, right?
Absolutely.
But yeah, on the con side, there's a lot. I mean, any program that you open right now, whether it is ChatGPT or Google's Bard or Bing's AI, whatever you're using, it's going to come up with a disclaimer right at the beginning saying, you may get some inaccurate information here. So if you work for a company that must have very exacting, precise results that are that you can, attach some sort of attribution to, then you may be out of luck with ChatGPT. Every time I run something with them and I see the results, I'll say, and can you tell me where this quote comes from? And they say, nope, sorry. So that can be an issue. Remember, this is a tool to use to get yourself on the road to where you need to be in the end. But I would never just accept whatever they say word for word. I have a friend who said, well, I'm just going to put in a keyword, have it write a blog post, and then post it. I'm like, you better read that thing first, right? But so, it's very exciting, but it's all so still new. It almost feels like it should still be in some sort of trial basis, but it's kind of out there for the world because that's how it's being informed. So we have to be just really careful with what we're seeing and what we're using. I do not represent BNI as saying this is something that we endorse in any way. Be careful is what we're saying, and use it carefully and make sure that you're doing the information justice for your business, right? So collect good information, but use it in a way that's going to support your business in a way where it's not going to turn people off because you're less. I think the personality, it's a robot, right? So it's not going to have that kind of personality that you may have been putting into all the stuff that you've been creating. So tweak as needed.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Anytime you're going to write anything, you're going to include facts. You still need to do all of your own independent fact checking. AI is great for reducing time, but you have to be aware of where that language model is processing. You need to have references, particularly if your business depends on it, your job depends on it. I completely agree, Steve. That was excellently said.
Well, it's interesting here because John is saying that he's very skeptical of this. And quite frankly, people who are creating this, people in the industry have said, maybe we should put a little hold on AI development until we kind of get a little more control over it. But it seems like the cat's out of the bag and it's just kind of going now. So it is a concern.
Yeah, and that's part of why this makes this such an interesting conversation. Is you're so right. There's so many different experts in this field, and it's such an emerging field. And I think there's great wisdom in the idea of thinking we need to oversee this. But like you said, the cat is sort of already out of the bag there. I don't know how we're going to put that genie back in the bottle when so many language models have been developed and they're owned by so many different private corporations. I don't know if that's really going to be a possibility at this point, but it's definitely important to think about how AI is going to change our society. It's important to cite our references when we're making any form of corporate communications, but yeah. And I'm sure we're going to have more and more to say on this in our next one. I'm sure your next one is going to have more and more to say about this. And it's a topic that everyone, I think, in business needs to be paying attention to.
Yep.
And that's why I'm here to tell you that AI is the single most important skill that every human being should be trying to learn today. The people who are in that 15%, or what do we say, 14%, or who are using it regularly, are going to have the production capability of 10 copywriters or 10 research assistants or 10 social media marketers or 10 project managers. So that's why I think that getting your hands on this, because AI is about to transform everything that we do, right? Soon we're going to say, hey, to our voice assistant, we're going to say, hey, Google, or hey, Siri, can you order dinner for us? But my friend here has a peanut allergy. My other friend is vegan, and these guys want pizza. And the AI is going to put it all together. It's going to send it right to your cart and send all that stuff over. And that's just like one little example of things that it's going to do. But it's going to 10x our daily productivity if we use it properly. If you don't get into checking out AI, you're going to be feeling like the people who didn't want to learn how to use the internet or didn't want to learn how to use the computers, right? So let's not do that to ourselves. Let's be the ones who take advantage. And yes, this is an AI generated image of you taking your business to unforeseen heights. We're not going to talk about AI generated images today, but they're definitely going to be peppered throughout this presentation. And I probably just activated Siri on everyone's phone all across the country. I apologize to everyone about that. So let's talk about the major players in this game. These are not the only people who are involved. There's literally thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of AI tools that are available to you to get into. But let's talk about the big guys in that space right now. Oh, and here is that AI playbook. If you know that you want to take a list. So this is a document that we use, a list of all of our prompts to help us with a variety of business tasks. And you can go, you drop your email in there, and we're going to shoot that over to you. As our business evolves, we update that AI playbook with our prompts, and we're going to talk about prompts in the middle in a few moments, but this is a way you can get access to ours, and it's like going to kickstart you off to be able to copy what we do and then use that for your own business. So I think this is a great resource I wanted to share with everyone. All right, so ChatGPT. This is the name brand. These are the guys who broke AI into the mainstream. You probably didn't hear anything about AI on a day-to-day basis before OpenAI's ChatGPT. OpenAI is partially owned by Microsoft. It was partially started by Elon Musk, okay? But this is the standard, okay? And what we want to sort of talk about is AI, as we know it, we call it AI, but really what it is a language processing model, okay? That means we're going to talk to it like a language. We're going to speak to it in the words that we use in our everyday conversation. Most, but not all, other AI writing tools are going to be using some version of this GPT model that OpenAI has created. They are the industry leader. Their model creates excellent output, okay? ChatGPT does a ton of things, and it can do them all extremely well. The free version is amazing, okay? And this is why you probably hear about it. You can get right in there. You can go just Google ChatGPT right now. You can open up a free research account. You can start asking it questions. Tell me a joke about the summer. Write a poem about BNI. If we have extra time, maybe we'll see that. But we also want to talk about the limitations, right? The limitation of ChatGPT is that it has limited knowledge of world events after 2001. So like we said, we can't trust it for all of our most important facts, statements. There's limited knowledge. We have to realize that we're drawing from a language model, a database. Now, what I wanted to do here is just show everyone, since we had 60% of people said they've never seen it before, I want to show you what the homepage of ChatGPT is going to look like. So there's really, when you log in, it's going to show you, it's going to give you some basic examples right here. Explain quantum computing in simple terms. Give me creative ideas for a 10-year-old birthday. It's going to tell you what the capabilities are. And since we talk about how it's a language model, everything is a conversation. It remembers what you said in an earlier conversation. And you can see on the left here, all of the conversations in my account, right? So whenever we're working on one particular project, we're going to open a conversation. We're going to give it context or ask questions. And then we return to that conversation. The language model is going to have all the information that we've given it so it can make informed outputs, right? And here we're going to see the limitations again, may occasionally generate incorrect information. Like Steve was saying, it's going to give us a warning. Limited knowledge of world events. Basically, you're going to enter that prompt box. You're going to ask it to do anything you want it to do. It's going to give you a great response.
I will say that they do, you see on the left, all of Andrew's stuff that he's been working on there. They do use this stuff and they do keep it, but you have some control in there to remove stuff. And, you know, I would, if you work for a large company, I would not name that company to get your information. Like, for example, if I do stuff for BNI and I'm trying to come up with a blog post or something like that, I'll mention networking, but I'm not going to, you know, really go in there and use company names because they're going to keep that stuff. And we want to make sure that, you know, nothing gets. I know Apple actually pulled their employees off of ChatGPT and created their own AI to work internally, so no company secrets got out. So again, be careful.
It is sort of a little bit of a wild west of where is your information going, because the truth is that the technology evolves so much faster than the legislation can evolve. So we're all in a little bit of a gray area here. Who is going to have complete final control over all this information?
Yeah.
Choose the companies you want to work with wisely and realize that unfortunately probably everyone else in your industry who's going to be on top of it is using it. So you want to, you know, make the best decision for you. I know we're talking a lot about that. And like you said, Apple created their own AI. So this is really just like the dawn of the prehistoric era of AI. It's like life coming out of the ocean and coming on the land, because all of these major companies are going to have their own AI, internal AI. It's you, if you're just getting into the AI game now, hold on to your hats. So here's the second one we're going to talk about, and that is Google Bard, right? And here's a little artistic AI representation of Google Bard. And this is Google's alternative to ChatGPT with a highly similar structure. Now, what's different about this is that they don't use OpenAI's language model. Google has created their own language model, and thus outputs from Bard will vary significantly from what you'll get from ChatGPT. Bard has the quality of being even more conversational, more human-like responses, whereas ChatGPT is generally considered to be superior at text processing, paragraph writing, and text summarization, hard data stuff. But I think what you really got to pay attention to with Bard is the future development here, because one of the industries that's most threatened, I think, by AI is search engines and search at large, because it really is just its own search model. So Google has a major stake in protecting, you know, their dominance of the web and of society in general. So you know that Google Bard is going to continue to be developed highly. It's going to be continued to be integrated into all the other Google products and through Google search and everywhere. Google is always someone to look at. They're the industry leaders in search, and I think they're the most directly affected by this. So I would keep an eye on them. And if you like them as an alternative to ChatGPT, that's a great place to go. You can get access to it real quickly. Now, both of those pieces of software are going to really focus on you putting in your own input, right? And here is the homepage of Google Bard. And it's going to look very similar to what ChatGPT provides. You're going to have access to your conversations on the left-hand side. It's going to give you advice on how you can get in there, what sort of things you can ask for. Just like Steve said, brainstorming a list is one of my favorite things to do. Super effective to brainstorm a list of 10 titles for a blog post, 10 click-worthy titles. We want to always be very specific about how we want to, what we want to get out. The more we use our language to guide the AI, the better results we're going to get. But that's brainstorm anything, ideas for your kid's party, anything to help boost your creativity is a great tool in my mind. But in general, you're seeing the same thing. You're going to enter your prompt at the bottom. You're going to have some conversations to the left. It's going to be straightforward, and you're going to be able to inform your projects real quickly. Now, if this seems like a lot of manual work, learning how to prompt, you don't want to download our AI playbook. There are other tools that are going to allow you to get the value out of this without having to do some of the work. So this is a tool that my agency has been using for probably going on 15 months, quite a bit before ChatGPT hit the mainstream. We're using an AI writing tool, which is called Jasper. And now if anyone is a fan of Marvel Comics or Iron Man, they would know that Iron Man, Tony Stark's AI in his helmet and in his whole life in his house it was called Jarvis. Okay, so Jarvis was their original name, and they were sued by Marvel for
and lost, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, for clear and direct copyright infringement. But then they changed their name to Jasper. So Jasper is going to allow you to get all of that without having to have all the prompting in there. It's based on ChatGPT's language model, but it's going to provide you with marketing frameworks. Okay, so it's going to give you, so you go in there and you ask it to write a company bio, or you ask it to write product descriptions. If you're a real estate agent, you can have it write real estate and listing descriptions for you. You can have it use the ADIA framework. You can have it use a tremendous amount of different marketing frameworks, and that's going to provide a nice little back end where all you've got to do is punch in your information. And let's see if I can briefly bring you over there. It looks like I missed a slide, but I'm going to show you this real quick. Now let's go to, because I think you're going to all really love seeing what it provides. Are you able to see my screen here, Steve?
Yep.
Beautiful. So here is Jasper, and you're going to see a lot of the same things that you're seeing in other things. But what makes it so much easier is that it's going to provide you with these templates, right? So you're going to have ad writing, blog, business, e-commerce, marketing frameworks, SEO, social media. And now you're going to be able to have it write a company bio for you or improve your content. It's going to create a new Google business post.
By the way, if you see where it says explain it to a child, I used a prompt like that in ChatGPT because I could not get my mind around what blockchain was and how it worked. And I did it like explain it to me like I'm 10 years old, and they're like, what if you had this book? And they're like, but there's no one in charge of it. And yet you couldn't duplicate it. And I'm like, oh, I get it now.
A great way to learn about a topic is to do just what you said. What I'll do is I'll go, explain this topic to me like I was a kindergartner. And then I'll say, explain it to me like I was a junior high schooler.
Right.
And then I'll say, explain it to me like a college student. And you can just learn so much, so effective to learn that way. So this provides you a full, I'm not being compensated by them. I'm not giving you my referral link. I'm just showing you all of the options that are out there. So maybe it's something you want to check out. If you want to be able to get all the pizzazz and, get running right away, you want to be able to use these attention, interest, desire, action frameworks for your writing. This just provides you so much thing. And they also provide you workflows to create social media campaigns, all kinds of things. We could go on a whole entire thing about this, but I want to keep it moving because I know we got lots of other interesting stuff. But I definitely think this is a really cool thing to help you improve your writing. So if just really briefly, if you were to go into one of these and you were to say, write a company bio, we would pop in the company name, a little company information, the tone of voice we want to have, and then we'd hit generate and get some new copy like that. So it really makes it easy for you to just fill in the fields and get a result that is useful and working for you. And here's a little couple quick bios about Steve's company and what we would do, what I would do or Steve would do. I'd take these, I'd put them together, I'd edit them down, make sure they are accurate and make sure that they are interesting. And so
I'd spell my name right.
That too, I'm sure. I was afraid of that. Let's go back to our presentation here.
But yeah, no, the Jarvis is not, Jasper is not free.
It is not free. That is correct. The big downside to that is that they are going to charge you a fee, but the good news is that they've dropped their fee significantly since ChatGPT and all the other competitors have flooded the marketplace. Whew, all right, so how are we doing? We're doing all right here. That was an introduction to those simple programs. So if you want to get hands-on with Bard or with ChatGPT, these are the basics that you need to understand. They're a language model. So you want to speak to them like you're having a conversation. And sometimes I'll even press the little dictation button on my MacBook and literally just talk to it instead of typing it out because that takes so much time. But they're trained on a vast amount of text data and can generate human-like responses. It's conversational. Everything is organized by the conversation. And those conversations are composed of your prompts. So whatever you prompt it to give you, it will output. So we want to leave no room for guesswork. We want to be specific about the results that we get. We can get what we want by telling it exactly what we want. And in that way, using language is like a code. It's like you're coding, but with your everyday words, right? So these are the basics of AI prompting, right? And even if you're using Jasper or Jarvis, underneath it, this is what's going on. We're having a conversation with the AI. When you want to return to that conversation or work on that project, always go back to that conversation. You're building up the information there. You're improving the results, right? So to get started, you want to practice with simple prompts, like we've said a couple times. Everything in life, we get better with repetition, right? So get in there, ask it to write a joke. Ask it to write a poem. Just see some of the basic, simple conversational things you can do with it. And once you enter a couple into it, it's going to be demystified for you. Right now, still probably so many people in the audience feel like this is so scary, but once you get your hands on and start using it on a day-to-day basis, you're going to realize how friendly it is. And that's the first step to profiting from this, is asking some basic questions and getting in there. Now, as a more formal structure to creating prompts, we want to be clear about what we're doing. So we like to ask our AI, We start our prompt with, hey, act as a copywriting editor, act as a research assistant, act as a social media manager, act as a project manager. Tell the AI how you want it to act and what you want it to do, right? That's part one. Let it know who it is and how it should behave. Act as this. Part two is give it a task. Maybe we're going to ask that copywriting editor to write an essay, a blog post, or maybe we're going to ask our research assistant to compile a spreadsheet of data, or maybe we're going to ask it to compile a spreadsheet of motivational quotes for use on social media, right? Whatever it is, we're going to tell it who it is. We're going to ask it to perform a task. And the third step of that is that we're going to ask it for the output we want. Do we want text? Do we want it to output a spreadsheet? Do we want it to output an image, right? Not all AI can create images right now, but some of them are integrating that into their basic premise. And some of them are just AI specific models, right? We're going to act it ask as, we're going to give it a task. And then we're going to tell it how we want it to output. And number 6 is the real art of it. It's the clarify and refine stage. And this is like editing. It's editing. So when we get that result and they have told us, given us our output, we need to clarify and refine. Did we like the output? Did it read well? Did it have the right tone of voice? Maybe we wanted to expand. We say, hey, can you expand on this point that you mentioned here? Can you add emoji into it? Can you rewrite it with some HTML code? Can you restate it in a different language or tone of voice, right? It's all about getting in there, getting an output, and then through a process of clarifying and refining, because it's, like we said, it's conversational. So we just say to the AI, hey, that was great, but can you make it funnier? That's all we have to do. It doesn't have to be some technical thing. We just say, hey, that was great. Can you make it shorter? And we hit enter, and then it's going to do that for us. So those are our steps right here. Act as a role. Ask it to create a task, and ask it and then tell it what format you want that exported in. You can do lists, tables, you can do HTML, text. All of this stuff is just beginning. This is just where we are now. In this short period of time, it's going to be able to export in many different ways. There are already AI tools out there that will take your words and turn them into video. Maybe you want it exported as a video. And ChatGPT doesn't do that right now, but we're talking broadly about all AI. And that's just coming. It's coming on so fast and so strong. We're going to learn more and more about it.
You know, I just wanted to make the point because I'm reading what's going on in the chat. If you recall, Google, which came out, I believe, in the late 90s, about 25 years ago now, when people saw Google, they were like, nobody's going to be thinking for themselves anymore. And the way that, you know, brains are going to be changing and all that, because you can just look it up on Google. This is kind of the same thing that we're going through with this. And so, yeah, I think that it can be detrimental. I'm hoping that the education system comes up with some way to stay ahead of this so that their tests are not going to have, you know, too much influence from things like Chat or Bard or whatever, you know.
I think the education system is a prime example of a system that's going to have to grapple and cope with this new technology. Human beings are very resilient and very forward thinking. And I know that this is like, everything's got a silver lining. We had COVID pandemic, and that was horrible for society at large, but there were wonderful silver linings that came out of that. More people are able to work from their home. People have improved health and safety because of that. You know, less time, most people are spending less time commuting. So whenever we have something that's going to struggle, just going to reshape society, one thing that's for certain, the only constant in life is change. And this is certainly another harbinger of change, and there will be struggles. Certain industries will have struggles, but in the long run, everyone is going to be better off. That is my prediction. But yeah, definitely education is like number one right there. We're going to have to create new ways to evaluate our students. It's a great point. So those are our basic topics that we got. We're at 12:43, so we came in under time, and we've got enough time to answer some questions. I think it's really interesting, and I'm sure there's going to be, many varied opinions on the positivity or the negativity of this topic, but it's something that I think you need to take time to educate yourself on because it's not going away.
Absolutely. All right, we've got a few questions here in Q&A, so let's see what we've got. Howard says, I use AI anytime I have a visitor to my website and interested in more that they have to add full name, email, and phone before getting a call back. This feels good and not risky. Okay. So using AI for, filling out forms on your website, Andrew, you can certainly speak to that. I haven't gotten to that part yet.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. And our company is a WordPress website design shop. And I got to tell you, just every single day, there are new ChatGPT integrated plugins coming out. Literally everything from Canva is integrating it, Photoshop is integrating AI. All the new wave of website development is going to be completely washed over in AI. I think one of the most obvious things that everyone wants to have AI chatbots on their website, and people have been doing it for years, but they're just not really good enough. But my prediction is that in 3 to 5 years, even small companies or mid-sized companies are going to have their own AI model. So it won't just be like we're all using open AI. We're going to eventually have our own in-house AI models, and those automated responses are going to be tremendous.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Is ChatGPT connected to the internet?
Currently, ChatGPT the free version of it doesn't research the internet. I do believe that Bard will link you. So Bard will link you out and research current things on the internet. I think the pro version of ChatGPT does connect to the internet, but it's something that you need to be aware of. Does the AI that you're working with reference current things on the internet? And I'll go out on a limb here and I'll say that in a short period of time, probably 6 to 18 months, I bet you all of them will be using the internet. But right now, ChatGPT, the research version, which is probably what the vast majority of us are most familiar with, does not do Google searches to draw new information. But it's coming.
John wrote in the chat, you just haven't convinced me. We're not here to convince you of anything. We're just saying this is something that's out there. Use it or don't. But I think that it's something that we just have to get used to. You know what? Remember when Siri first came out? I mean, that's AI right there. You're just talking to it. But that's what it is. So this isn't really not as new as it seems. It's just kind of a different format for getting it to you. But all the stuff you ask, Alexa, don't answer, or Siri, or anybody else that's out there, this is AI.
And I think like even the way Google organizes itself, the way it indexes websites, their spiders, their web crawlers, that's a form of AI, right? Google is literally using AI to index the internet. All your devices are using AI, they're AI-powered assistants. It's really already here. Even if you're not using ChatGPT on a daily basis, if you have an iPhone, if you have, updated computers, AI are already part of your life. It's just that now you're getting the opportunity to wield that power for yourself and become something of a prompting wizard if you get a chance.
Yeah. Let's see. Jim asked, who updates ChatGPT and how often?
Great question. Well, ChatGPT is governed by OpenAI. It's a product of OpenAI. And if you go to OpenAI's website, you can learn more about who's currently on their board of directors. They are, I do believe, owned by Microsoft. Elon Musk was one of the original investors in this project. ChatGPT is generally think of it as a Microsoft product, but
even though Microsoft has its own AI.
That's right. They have Bing AI. They're trying to get that going. They will not be rushed to the side, and they want to get themselves back in the search engine war, in the browser war. They want to get your attention back. But yeah, there's and that's always the question: who owns these AI products? Can we trust them? And what results are we going to get from them?
Let's see. Well, we kind of covered the differences between each, so I'm not going to go through that one again. We have some kind of existential questions here that I don't think we can answer. Jorge says, I think we'll all be forced to rewire our brain connectors in order to use AI effectively in the business realm. Well, I mean, I think that with any kind of technology that happens.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what it is. If you rewire your brain, I just think if you rewire your brain a little bit to take advantage of this in a small way, the benefits that are there for you are great.
Yeah. Mike is asking, what industries or professions do you think are at most risk for disappearing because of AI?
Well, I definitely think that, thank you, Mike, for being here and for asking this question. And like we talked about earlier, anything that's heavily automated, that can be repeated, data entry looks like something that's going to be heavily affected in my view. Education is an industry that is going to be transformed because of access to the internet. But I think education industry is already ongoing rapid changes because of things like YouTube, because of the internet at large, people learning in other ways. They're going to continue to have to grapple. It's hard really to say what industries are most at risk of completely disappearing. But what we can say is that the industries that are at least risk are the most human connected industries. So management, right? We're never going to outsource management of assets. We're never going to outsource sales, right? We're never going to outsource these creative industries, because as much as we can get that to help Steve with his copywriting, the real value add to Steve and to all the copywriters in your BNI chapter are their individual and unique brains, right? Like AI can assist sales process, but it's never going to be able to close the deal in the same way. So wherever an industry requires human creativity, human input, human contact, those are the most insulated, the most protected. Anything that can be automated is going to be automated in the long run.
Will's asking, Andrew, where are you located?
We are located south of Boston, about halfway between Boston, Massachusetts, and Providence, Rhode Island. And it's a great area to live in. And I was so many other companies around here. But if you're in the Boston area, we're accessible to you. If you're in the Providence, Rhode Island area, we're accessible to you. But really, we're a national company, a worldwide company at this point, and we work with companies all across the United States and across the world, doing marketing, doing website development, doing training. So thanks for reaching out, Will. And I'd love to, anybody who's interested in working on these projects, you can head to our website. You can click on there and book an appointment, and I'd love to chat with you about your project and meet just some other people from the BNI universe and see how you enjoyed this and learn about how you're using AI, because I'm here to learn from you guys.